Hi, in this video we'll learn how to find the vertex of a graph, how to find the axis of symmetry, and how to sketch the graph. So my function is x squared plus 6x plus 9. First of all, we'll find the vertex of this function. And we know that for finding the vertex, the formula for finding the vertex of the equation is x is equal to negative b over 2a when the quadratic equation is in the standard form. So this equation is in the standard form, which is ax squared plus bx plus c. Now, what is value of a here in this equation? So a is the coefficient of x squared. That means a is going to be 1 here. Then b is the coefficient of x. Coefficient of x is 6 here. That means b is 6. And c is the constant value, which is positive 9 here. So you've got the values of a, b, and c. Now let's go ahead and plug in the value of b and a into this formula. Here, it says negative b over 2a. So negative b, that means this is going to be negative 6 over 2a. 2 times a is 1 here, so we'll just plug in 1 here. This is going to be negative 6 divided by 2 times 1 will be 2, and negative 6 divided by 2 is going to be negative 3. That means the x value of the vertex is negative 3. Now we just have to find the y value of the vertex. For finding the y value of the vertex, we're going to substitute x equals negative 3 into our original function here. So our original function is f of x is equal to x squared plus 6x plus 9. We'll just plug in x equals a negative 3 into this function. So let me write the function first, x squared plus 6x plus 9. Now going ahead and just plugging in the value of x here. So x is negative 3 here. And we'll replace all x with negative 3. So here this will be negative 3 squared plus 6 times x is going to be negative 3 plus 9. Then negative 3 squared is going to be negative 3 times negative 3, which will make it positive 9, plus 6 times negative 3 is going to be negative 18. I like to include that include in the parentheses because I have negative sign here. Now let's talk about this 9 plus, and then you have parentheses negative 18. Whenever you have the parentheses and you have a positive or negative sign inside, assume it's positive 1. Like here, it's the positive sign, so you just assume that it's a positive 1. It's plus sign. So positive 1 times negative 18 is going to be negative 18 plus 9. And solving this by the rule of order of operations, you move from left to right. So 9 minus 18 is going to be negative 9. And then I have plus 9 here. So negative 9 plus 9 is going to be 0. That means when I plug in negative 3 into this function, I'm getting 0. That means the y-coordinate of the vertex is 0. X-coordinate is negative 3 and y-coordinate is 0. So when writing the vertex x comma y, this is going to be x is negative 3 and y is 0. So we have already got the vertex here, negative 3 comma 0, which is this. X is negative 3 and y is 0. So we have got this point. Now, remember that axis of symmetry, the equation for finding the axis of symmetry is x is equal to negative b, which is the same equation which is used to find the vertex, which is used to find the x-coordinate of the vertex. So the axis of symmetry, the equation for finding the axis of symmetry is negative b over 2a. And we already got the axis of symmetry here. The x-coordinate of the vertex is the axis of symmetry. So x is equal to negative 3. That means there's a vertical line here. I'm not drawing that line, but I'm just showing you this dotted line here. X equals negative 3. This is the axis of symmetry. That means axis of symmetry, excuse me. Axis of symmetry means that this is the line through which the parabola is symmetric. So the parabola will be symmetric to this line. Okay. So that means this is the line. The axis of symmetry is the line through the parabola about which the parabola is symmetric, and we'll see how that goes. So here I've got the vertex. Now let's make an xy table here. Making an xy table here, x and y, and we already got the vertex. When x is negative 3, y is 0. Now what we have to do is we will just choose 2 points. 1 point to the right of the vertex and 1 point to the left of the vertex. We're going to choose 2 points, one to the right of the vertex and one to the left of the vertex. So let's pick let's choose one point to the right of the vertex. To the right of the vertex, 1 point, let's say -1. Let's take -1. So suppose when I plug in x equals -1 into this function, what happens when I plug in x equals -1 into this function? So see here. So I'm just plugging in x equals -1 into this original function, and we can get, instead of x squared, I'll have -1 squared plus 6 times x is -1 plus 9. So this is going to be -1 squared is going to be +1, plus 6 times -1 is going to be -6, and then plus 9. Here, let's solve it according to the rule of order of operations. 1 minus 6 is going to be -5. You have to move from left to right. So 1 minus 6 is going to be -5, and -5 plus 9 is going to be +4. So that means when x is -1, y is +4. Now we have got 1 point from the right of the vertex. Now let's choose 1 point to the left of the vertex. Let's say if we want to have -5 here. So -5 is x is equal to -5. When I plug in x equals -5 into this original function, so always remember, for getting the y value, you have to plug in the value of x into the original function. Now let's do this. Here, plugging in the value x equals -5 into the original function, let's do it here. So this is going to be -5, and then I have square plus 6x, so 6 times -5 plus 9. And -5 times -5 is going to be 25, and then 6 times -5 is going to be -30, and then I have plus 9. Now, moving from left to right, 25 minus 30 is going to be -5 plus 9, and -5 plus 9 is going to be 4. So when x is -5, y is equal to 4, okay? Now, let's plot these points. The first point is -3, 0, which is the vertex. The second point is -1, comma 4. So this is the point -1, comma 4. This is my second point here. Then this is -5. When x is -5, y is 4. So x is -5, y is 4 again. This point, which is reasonable because this is the axis of symmetry, and these 2 points have to be at the same distance from the axis of symmetry. So we have got 2 points. Now, we need to find out where the parabola crosses the y-axis. So to find out that where the parabola crosses the y-axis, we have to substitute x equals 0 into our function. So when you substitute x equals 0, always remember, the parabola is crossing the y-axis at whatever point it is. Suppose if it's crossing at 7, let's say it's 7, then the x-coordinate is going to be 0 because it's crossing the y-axis, so x-coordinate is always 0. So that's why we're going to plug in x equals 0 into our function and see what do we get for y. So when you plug in x equals 0 to find the y-intercept, always remember, to find the y-intercept, you have to plug in x equals 0 into your original function. So when plugging in x equals 0 into your original function, let's say plugging in x equals 0 into your original function, we can just do that mentally. So if I plug in 0 here, this is going to be 0. This is going to be 0 because 6 times 0 is going to be 0. And then plus 9. So 0 plus 0 plus 9 is going to be 9. So I've got 9 here. So another point is where the parabola is crossing the y-axis is this point, which is 0, comma 9. Because remember, it's the y-intercept. So when x is 0, y is 9. Now we know that if we have got this point here to the right of the axis of symmetry, we'll have the same point to the left of the axis of symmetry. So this point is how many points away? It's 1, 2, 3 units away, right? So the point that is 3 units to the right will be there will be another point 3 units to the left of the axis of symmetry. So let's say 1, 2, and 3. So the another point is going to be here. Oh my, this here. Let's say here, because it will be equidistant to the axis of symmetry. So 9 is how many points away from here? 1, 2, 3 units away. Then from the axis of symmetry, the point which is on the right of axis of symmetry will also be 3 units away. So 1, 2, 3. And we have got the nice points here. We can just go ahead and connect these points here and we'll get a nice parabola here. There you go. Sorry, this looks like crossing the y-axis, but actually it is crossing the y-axis at 0, 9. And here, there you go. Okay, so we have got the parabola. That's how you find the axis of symmetry, find the y-intercept, find the vertex, and just go ahead and sketch the graph. That's all for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you in next video.